Today we're learning how to divide real numbers. And just like subtraction, we're going to kind of rephrase the idea of dividing into terms of multiplying. Because when we say dividing, we're actually multiplying by the multiplicative inverse. Now, the multiplicative inverse of a number is some numbers that when I multiply it, I get 1. So for instance, the multiplicative inverse of 6 is 1 over 6. You might know this as the reciprocal. And so when we are dividing numbers, it's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So 18 divided by 6 is really 18 times 1 over 6. Now sometimes it's easier to look at it as division. Sometimes it's easier to look at it as multiplication. But I want to point out that this is why when we're dividing fractions, we flip, we take the reciprocal and multiply. So we're going to kind of build on that concept today. Now, I want you to notice that the multiplicative inverse of a negative number is still negative, and the multiplicative inverse of a fraction is a whole number if the numerator is 1. So the multiplicative inverse of negative 1/5 is negative 5 over 1, which is negative 5. And the multiplicative inverse of negative 6 over 7, since that doesn't have a numerator of 1, is going to be negative 7 over 6. And you can check because negative 6 over 7 times negative 7 over 6 will be equal to 1. So when we see division, we're going to rewrite it as a multiplication problem, and then we'll solve. For instance, negative 16 divided by 4 is equivalent to negative 16 times 1 over 4. And so you see that this follows the same rules as multiplication, where since we have different signs, we take our result and make it negative. And 1/4 of 16 is 4, so 1/4 of negative 16 is negative 4. If we had negative 20 divided by negative 5 over 3, we see this is where we get those the flip and multiply concept with fractions. We flip the number we're dividing by and multiply. Since they have the same sign, it's going to be positive. We get 60 over 5, which is equal to 12. Let's look at example 3. In example 3, we have a table that gives the daily minimum temperatures in Fahrenheit in Barrow, Alaska for the first 5 days of February 2004. And we want to find the mean daily minimum temperature. So the first day, the temperature is negative 21. That's cold. The second day, it's negative 29. The third day, negative 39. The fourth day, negative 39. And the fifth day, negative 22. And I'm putting an addition sign between this because since we're finding the mean, I know that we want to add up all the numbers and divide by how many there are. So we're going to divide that by the 5 days. So first I start by adding, and let's take a second and add up all 5 of those numbers and tell me what you get. That's right, negative 150. Negative 150 divided by 5 is again the same as negative 150 times 1/5, which is negative 30. So the average temperature, the mean temperature for Barrow, Alaska for those first 5 days in February is negative 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow. Now we can use this with algebraic expressions as well. 36x minus 24 divided by 6. Another way to look at this would be 36x minus 24 times 1/6. And we know from lesson 2.5 that we can use our distributive property. And so we do 1/6 times 36x, which gives us 6x. And then we do 1/6 times negative 24, which gives us negative 4. But I want you to notice that what we did essentially was divide that 36 by 6 and divide the negative 24 by 6. And that's where we got our answer. I want you to try one of those. I'll give you this problem, we'll pause the video, and you can take a few minutes to tell me what you come up with. We'll actually do two of them. That'll be the first one. The second one, negative 10z minus 20 divided by negative 5. So take a few minutes and see if you can come up with the answer. Okay, so in the top one, we've got negative 6y plus 18, and we're multiplying that by 1/3. 1/3 of negative 6 is going to be negative because they got different signs. And 1/3 of 6 is 2. And we need to keep the y. And 1/3 of 18 is 6. For the second one, got the same idea. Negative 10z minus 20 in parentheses for the whole top times negative 1/5. We know that negatives times negatives make positive. So negative 10z times negative 1/5 is going to be a positive, and a fifth of 10 is 2z. And negative 1/5 times negative 20 gives us a positive, and a fifth of 20 is 4. That's all there is to it today. If you are unsure of anything, you can go back and watch the video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If not, you can move on to your homework.